Sounds like Valour was having a good time in the preseason camp before the season got underway, but it was a struggle throughout the year. You had an 11-game winless streak dealing with Valour FC. What went wrong with Valour?
I think at the beginning, if our first few games, I thought maybe those were our best performances from almost the whole season. Like we beat Pacific at home. I think we had a strong showing in our first game of the year. We looked ready, we looked good. Second game against Edmonton, we lost at home, but we probably should have won that game. Um, and then we had some key injuries. Like if you look at a guy like Joseph Golibar, no one really talked about him, but
I
like
did.
such a good player, and he goes down with an ACL, and that hurts the team, right? So then we're always kind of looking for solutions, and I don't know, it was tough during that 11-game winless spell. We're changing lineups a lot. You know, Kind of hard to find a constant fluidity in the team. Maybe there wasn't a cohesiveness in the group that allowed us to be on the same page throughout the games, and it obviously showed that there was something that wasn't clicking for us, and that was maybe defending as a unit and even progressing as a unit going forward. It was a little bit sporadic, maybe a little bit individual in that sense. And we had a lot of good individual goals, but as a unit, we were we struggled against the teams like Hamilton and Calgary, because they suffocated you almost, right? Like they knew, uh, organization wise, it was tough to break down a team like that, first of all, and then going forward, they're also very good. So if you're not on the same wavelength as them, it's going to be a tough game, and those games were hard for us. And then we never really got in a rhythm. We'd win a game and then probably lose a couple, or we didn't put two back-to-back wins together throughout the year, so we never really caught any momentum.
I remember just thinking back to the broadcasts last year, Dylan, and I want to bring Oliver in on this as well. It seemed like you had a lot of talented attacking players, a lot of players with experience, but also a lot of similar players and guys like Bustos and yourself. And then you put Carrero in there. Petrasso, where's he going to play on the field? And Oliver, I don't know if you agree, but we oftentimes struggled to pinpoint what your guys' best unit was going forward. And it seemed like you guys were all rotating through positions. Was it, was that something that was difficult to manage throughout the season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you put yourself into yourself as a player, you obviously want to be playing in the position that you're most comfortable in, and that doesn't always happen. Um, and then I don't think maybe we were dynamic enough. Like you said, maybe we have a lot of good technically talented players, but then maybe we didn't utilize enough speed to get runs in behind, or to actually be unpredictable against teams. I thought we were probably pretty predictable going forward a lot of the time, because we were trying to find Petrasso on an outlet or something to kind of set us free and let us breathe a little bit. But at the end of the day, these teams you're going up against, like I said, if they're organized, they understand that a guy like Petrasso is a really big threat. So if they can take him out of the game, or focus on kind of trapping him a little bit, then we might struggle. Um, but yeah, like I think if you look at it, like we all had kind of our days. You know what I mean? Bustos had some games where he was man of the match. I had a man of the match game against Calgary. Some other Petrasso had really good games. So it was kind of like, it wasn't like we could all step up at the same time. So it was hard to find, like you said, it's hard to find that balance when you have similar players. Um, it's difficult because we kind of all want the ball to our feet, right? But if you're always getting it to feet, you're always kind of playing in front of a team, or it's easier to defend in that sense. So
Oliver, was Valor the best football playing team in the CPL, as Rob Gale said it was?
No, I don't think so, because I think you have to have more. Yeah, you have to have a more complete game than maybe Valor showed at times to be described in that way. But I was looking through the season earlier today and yesterday, and looking at some of the standout games, and the good one that stood out to me was that game at York 9, which I think was your last game, Dylan, before you went to New Zealand. You were excellent in that game. You scored a really good goal, but the whole team just seemed to click and play some really fluid football. Is there something from that game that you can kind of pick out that was working that hadn't been working for the rest of the year?
it's a smaller field, and it fit our players, I think, and that's my opinion. Like the coach or anyone might not agree with me, but I think that with the style of players that we had, we fitted that York field. It's just smaller, it's tidier. You can advance quicker, right? It doesn't. I don't know. It just felt like an easier pitch to play on, and for some reason, it suited us because we went there and beat them twice.
Yeah.
So for some reason, it suited our team a little bit more. And then you come to Investors Group, and it's a huge field, and we didn't particularly have great performances at home. So I don't know. Obviously, there's an argument that the field doesn't matter, the size, but if you have, if you're saying you have a bit more technical, shorter playing players, then maybe a smaller field does suit you a little bit more. But I was really up for that game, honestly. Like, it was just one of those days where I kind of had a feeling like I need to, I don't know, I need to show something. Like, I was playing against my old coaches, Jimmy, Brennan, and Carm. A lot of guys on York I'd played against my whole life, or not my whole life, but growing up playing in Toronto. So I don't know. It felt like one of those games where I was really up for it. So
I remember being disappointed after that game because our great hope was that York 9 was going to be able to make a run at at Forge Oliver Platt, and then that way we'd actually have a title race, because you guys going to York 9 and winning pretty much made it certain that Forge would play Calvary in the finals. So thanks a lot.
I think that was the first one. That was the 2-0, and then York did exactly the same thing against Pacific, either before or afterwards, right? So it's an interesting point, though, because you would think that like a smaller technical team that is probably going to play better in tight spaces, right, and was suited to a smaller pitch like that. So it was definitely an interesting factor.